What's up with Mrs. Norris and Crookshanks?
Did Dumbledore even know Hermione and Ron?
What did Crabbe and Goyle do in their free time? Welcome to the Pottership Podcast,
where we chat about the beloved Potter characters and their relationships.
We dissect,
speculate,
and outright laugh our way through headcanons.
So, all aboard! Don't forget, our shows are rated O for of-age wizards. That means if you have to ask your parents' permission for anything, you might want to come back later. If you get to stay, though, remember this show contains spoilers, discussions of alcohol, discussions of sex, and all those other things that you probably need to be of age to hear. Thanks. Hey, everybody, it's Mel, mother to Cantus and Butterbeer. It's Butterbeer's birthday, yay! And owner of many wands, lover of yellow.
Hey, it's TC, your resident Ravenclaw, mother to baby Padfoot and little Lupin, and owner of not enough wands. It's been too long. I need to go wand shopping.
And sadly, we are still missing our poor Sam because long COVID sucks. So.
Indeed. But we have kindly been joined by a friend, Zach from Belated Binge. Woo!
Hi.
He's consented to delve into a topic with us because he's a generous soul and also very brave. So Zach, remind everybody about who you are, what you like, your house, etc.
Well, I'm going to do my best Sam impression that I possibly can because we have the same wand. Maple 12 3/4 dragon heartstring. Rigid, apparently, according to the Pottermore quiz, because that's literally all I know about wands. My house is Ravenclaw, again, according to the quizzes, but I mean, it fits. If you're nerd enough to do one of these podcasts, I figure you're nerd enough probably to be in Ravenclaw. My Patronus is a Manx cat, which is tailless, probably spineless and useless. And my favorite character is probably Dumbledore, which I think is fitting for today's conversation. I just think he's the most fascinating to talk about, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one I lean into.
Well, I am loving this little quarter series because it's getting to prove that I don't hate Dumbledore, because somehow the rumor has begun, and I have to go back and listen to our old episodes because apparently everyone thinks I hate Dumbledore, and I don't.
If the shoe fits.
Rumor.
It doesn't fit. It's a size too small. That's all I'm saying.
I think thou doth protest too much.
I think it's funny because I tend to be the Dumbledore apologist, I guess. Like that's more the rumor for me. And yet I'm also very realistic and critical about him, which is funny. Like the more I dive into Dumbledore, the more I continue to find him extremely fascinating, but at the same time, kind of the problematic parts of not just the character, but actually the character's existence, period, and how he's sort of a cheat code and breaks the books, and that's why he's gone half the time, because he would just fix it. But that's when you have an all-knowing character, that's the trick. Keep them off the page, probably. Otherwise, their all-knowingness will fix all the problems.
I agree to some extent, although I do still think that his all-knowingness really is not that he's all-knowing. It's that he's on really good terms with the portraits, and the portraits see all.
That's a good one. I think of it more like, how do we explain this? How do we move this forward? Dumbledore knows.
Exactly. Which makes more sense in the books than the movies, where they just went
so much more.
Hermione knows, which
yeah.
Why would she know? But anyway, that's another topic for another day.
Is that not what we're discussing today?
No, Mel's going to tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, before I do that, didn't you have a show host question?
Is that before the topics?
Yes, because then we can start talking about the topic.
You'd think after 109 plus episodes, I would know how this works.
You'll learn it eventually. It's
Any
fine.
day now. All right. So my show host question. We're keeping all of that in. This is a wild one. I don't know why I thought of this. If you could date any adult HP character who is single in the books, who would you date and why?
Can you remind me what adult HP characters are actually single in the books?
Wow.
That would probably help because it seems like that list is awfully short.
It is a short list, but I'm thinking.
Well, you have, let's look, Rose Murda, Sirius, McGonagall, like almost all the teachers, Poppy, like there's surprisingly large number of single adults.
I'm going with my
Milani?
standard. Sorry.
You're going with who?
My standard, Charlie.
Charlie? That he counts. He is single. And he is an
He's a
adult.
Weasley. So always.
Always marry a Weasley.
Can I timestamp it?
Sure.
Or
Can I get Tonks before book 6?
Okay. I like that.
I'm
You know,
okay with
when
that.
she's fun and competent and not depressed and love struck by a werewolf.
And if she got you first, Zach, she probably would have had a much better life. And, not.
Well, I mean, she at least wouldn't have had to beg and convince me, so that would have been a good start.
True story. True
She
story.
wouldn't have needed peer pressure from all of my friends.
By the way, Love Struck by a Werewolf is the title of my new book.
Great, I can't wait to read it.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to reading this book.
Wow.
I prefer audiobooks if you don't mind. I would love
I'll
that to
work
be
on that.
tailored specifically to me.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's your title, so we can make that work. I would love to say something sensible and wise, but I know I would date Sirius. I know I would. And I just moody wild card needs taming. I know I would fall for Sirius.
You'd be
Would it be a
arrested
healthy
on your first
relationship?
date. You'd be arrested on the first date.
Probably. Not a healthy relationship, but it would be the relationship I would go for.
And if
Be a
we
fun
include
story.
19 years later, honestly, if we include 19 years later,
Well, he's very
but
dead.
pretend that they didn't make it happily ever after, I would have chosen Ron.
Yeah.
Hmm.
100%.
If I have to stick to people who ended the series single, then I guess give me McGonagall, because she can teach you a few things. Been around the block a little
He's
bit.
my favorite character. I'm going to say go for it.
Has the experience to make things very magical, and I think that we would be very happy for a few years until she's, I probably wouldn't outlive her. She'd kill me by the time like it was all said and done.
He would
But
just transfigure you into a teacup so she could keep you forever without you talking.
she probably would, and that would probably be ideal, and probably be something my wife would be interested in learning.
You know what's funny is that we skipped over a very eligible bachelor that none of us picked. We wouldn't date Voldemort. He was a single adult. I love your faces.
Cursed
Love your
Child
faces.
would beg to differ.
No. They never said he was married. We all know you don't have to be married to procreate.
Well, that's fair.
And
just
she
gonna
was
say-
married.
I'm just going to say he's not my type.
Actually, well, yeah, because Bellatrix was also married. I kind of forgot about that part. I was
Yeah.
gonna say talk about a wild card, but no, she was married. I mean, according to
Yeah,
Ron,
you're a
Rosmerta was
you're a
super
sister.
hot, so I
Well,
don't
I
know,
thought
maybe
you
you go
would
that
go for
route.
Rosmerta. That's who I was thinking if I was leaning that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a happily married man, but even as a happily married man, I know better than to go for the bartender. It's just a dumb fool's errand.
You are correct.
You are correct.
But
Been
you
out
moved
the
on
game a
from that
long time, but some lessons die hard.
All
Like
right.
No, that question took a turn I did not expect, but I loved it.
But it was a good question. It was a fun question. And again, I got to pick Charlie. So life is good.
Yeah.
So let's
Hey.
talk about our topic. As we know, our quarter series is about order members and how they are affected by it and or their relationship to Dumbledore. And Zach has lovingly picked Snape and Arthur.
The pairing you obviously would have chosen in any logical scenario.
Those were the two I thought of first every time we discuss this.
Definitely.
You know, I honestly think every day, how did Molly keep her jealousy down every time Snape was in the room? Because obvious, the connection.
Yeah.
It's just sparks. All the sparks.
There were some sparks. All right. So we do not have to rehash all the facts about the two of them because we know them. We also know that they're around-ish, within about 10 years, the same age. We know they have a lot of similar we'll put that in quotes, groups. And their lives overlap a lot. But their relationship, and I'm not even talking about with Dumbledore yet, just their relationship. What do you think they actually we'll say talked about? Because they were stuck at Grimmauld Place a few thousand times. You have to have parent-teacher conferences. And they had so many kids go through his classes.
Well, that was honestly the thing that jumped into my head first was like, is it crazy to think that they've literally never actually just spoken to each other?
I mean, I can see them not talking. If, let's say they both end up at the Hog's Head, I don't think they're acknowledging each other's existence. But I do think they had to talk. I mean, just the amount of times they probably got called in for Fred and George. I mean, they had to have spoken, not about order of business, with 7 kids that went through his classes.
Do they though? Let's back her up just a second, because I'm thinking the one instance that comes to mind very clearly is the second book when Ron and Harry fly the car to school, end up in the Whomping Willow. Snape is the one that catches them, wants to punish the shit out of them. Wait, so I forgot. Can I curse on this podcast?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And the parental outreach is a letter. Like, they don't get called in for child nearly murdering himself via tree and flying car. So I don't actually know that they have parent-teacher conferences at this school. Like, I don't think the parents actually come in and interact with the teachers. We see,
well, we know they don't.
Would be, right.
You know, because the Muggleborn's parents never get to even see the stupid school.
Right. So it's
there's order meetings. There's Dumbledore pulling people together. There's birthday parties.
Sure, birthday parties. No, but I don't mean literally they've never, but the vibe that we get from Snape as a member of the Order in the second go around is that he shows up to the house, he gives his report, and he turns around and he leaves without really acknowledging or interacting with anybody else. He certainly isn't staying for dinner. he's not the chummy type that is gonna, be have